Welcome to Just One Day, the channel dedicated to travel enthusiasts seeking unique and exciting experiences to explore the cities of the world in just 24 hours. In this video, we will take you to Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. A blend of art, culture, the sea, and good food. These are the ingredients of your journey. In one day, you need to make choices and sacrifices, but you can still explore this wonderful city and fully immerse yourself in its atmosphere. Lisbon is the capital and the largest city of Portugal. With a registered population of 545,923 inhabitants within its administrative boundaries and approximately 3 million in its urban area, 11th in the European Union, it is the most populous city in the country. Lisbon is considered a global city due to its significant importance in sectors such as finance, commerce, publishing, art, international trade, education, and tourism. It is a major economic center with a growing financial sector and one of the most important ports on the Atlantic. Lisbon Airport serves approximately 20 million passengers annually, and significant roads and highways connect the capital to other Portuguese cities. The city is the sixth most visited in southern Europe after Rome, Barcelona, Madrid, Athens, and Milan. Lisbon boasts good weather all year round, but it's not always the best time for a trip to Lisbon. Some periods are indeed very expensive, others very crowded, and some quite rainy. So, when is the best time to visit Lisbon? The best time to enjoy the sea and excursions in the surroundings is from late spring to early autumn, early May to early October, preferably avoiding July and August due to excessive heat and tourist crowds. In late autumn and winter, November to March, it may not be the most suitable period for a trip to Lisbon. Although mild, it limits the possibilities of enjoying the city and outdoor activities. However, the Christmas season is very beautiful. The most economical month to visit Lisbon is undoubtedly November, but March is also not too expensive. These 2 months represent the low season in Lisbon, as the city offers fewer events and the weather is a bit unstable, so it's less crowded and flight and accommodation prices go down. However, don't expect a bustling city like during the summer months or the holiday season. Let's discover Lisbon in a day, including the must-see attractions and alternative itineraries. The itinerary covers the main stops in Lisbon, excluding museums and attractions that would require too much time for a visit. Start from the oldest part of Lisbon, Alfama. Rich in muradas, or panoramic terraces, don't miss a visit from the outside to São Jorge Castle. Continue your morning by reaching La Sé, the Lisbon Cathedral, and then proceed to the Baixa district. Here, take a ride on the Elevador de Santa Justa and take the opportunity to visit the Convento do Carmo. Finally, head to Praça do Comércio, where you'll find the imposing Rua Augusta Arch. After having lunch at the city market, Time Out Market, head to the Belém district, west of the historic center, where you can visit one of the city's top attractions, the marvelous Jeronimo's Monastery. The visit will take some time, but it's a must-see. Finally, conclude your day by admiring the sunset from the Belém Tower, another undisputed symbol of the city. For the evening, make your way to the wonderful LX factory, a dynamic and characteristic place created from an old 19th century industrial area. Here, you'll find various restaurants, a marvelous bookstore, and in the summer evenings, there are always live music performances. Okay, let's go. A day in Lisbon must start in Alfama, the historic and one of the most characteristic neighborhoods of Lisbon. Wear comfortable shoes because you'll be walking through uphill alleys, climbing several steps, and reaching the neighborhood's many viewpoints. One of the most beautiful is certainly Miradoro de Santa Luzia, one of Lisbon's most fascinating and famous viewpoints. The best way to explore this neighborhood is with a guided walking tour led by a local guide or aboard the historic and iconic tram 28. In between walks, make your way to São Jorge Castle, an ancient and imposing fortified castle that has overlooked Lisbon for thousands of years, with the first fortifications dating back to the 1st century BC. Inside, you'll find the archaeological museum, but unfortunately, there isn't enough time to explore it fully. The visit typically takes about 2 hours, so admire it from the outside and then head to the Baixa district. Just one day tip. Immerse yourself in Fado, the melancholic music of Lisbon. Alfama is the best neighborhood to experience a fado performance, the melancholic music of Lisbon. As you stroll through its streets, you can hear the melodies filling the air. In the evening, many venues also host fado shows. Descending from the Alfama towards the city's central district, namely La Baixa, make sure to stop and visit the marvelous Lisbon Cathedral, known as La Sé. Your gaze will immediately be captured by its imposing structure, built where once stood an ancient Arab mosque. And if the exterior is as impressive as it gets, the interior will leave you speechless. Here, you can admire the Roman, Arab, and medieval remnants upon which the church was built. Furthermore, the inner cloister bears a strong resemblance to that of the Jeronimo's Monastery, which you will have the opportunity to visit in the afternoon. Finally, in the upper part of the church, the cathedral's treasury is safeguarded, containing clothing, jewelry, and relics from different eras. The Baixa district is undoubtedly one of Lisbon's most celebrated neighborhoods, as well as the very heart of the city. Situated between the banks of the Tagus River and Avenida da Liberdade, it was completely rebuilt after the 1755 earthquake, becoming a symbol of reconstruction and hope. Rich in pedestrian areas, shops, bars, and restaurants, one of the main attractions is certainly the Rua Augusta Arch, which, with its magnificence, marks the end of Rua Augusta, the shopping street, and the beginning of Praça do Comércio, a beautiful square that opens up to the sea. While strolling through the streets of the neighborhood, do not miss the opportunity to take a ride on the Elevador de Santa Justa, the panoramic elevator connecting La Baixa to Lago do Carmo, from which you can enjoy a wonderful view of the surroundings. In the city, there are several elevators and funiculars, each with its own unique characteristics and offering stunning views. Let's continue our tour and head to the top of the Elevador de Santa Justa. Here, you will find the magnificent Convento do Carmo, which includes the monastery and the remains of the homonymous church, which was likely destroyed by the 1755 earthquake. The renovations were not intentionally initiated. In fact, today the church stands as a symbol and a reminder of the terrible earthquake that struck Lisbon. The remains of this church are a paradise for photography enthusiasts. It completely lacks a ceiling, and the arches are open to the sky. You can enter inside by passing through a large Gothic portal, and you'll immediately witness a breathtaking spectacle. Just one day's recommendation. Enjoy a city view aperitif. At the rear of the convent, near the Elevador de Santa Justa, you'll find Topo Chiado, a venue with a marvelous terrace overlooking Lisbon's rooftops. It's the perfect place to have an aperitif with a splendid view of the city. As previously mentioned, in the Baixa area overlooking the sea, you find the wonderful Praça do Comércio, one of the largest and most picturesque squares in Europe. Surrounded by elegant buildings and offering a stunning sea view, it's one of Lisbon's main squares, almost entirely pedestrian. Moreover, being just a stone's throw away from the harbor, this has been the city's main gateway for centuries. Don't forget to take a photo of the Arco Rua Augusta, the magnificent triumphal arch that leads to the historic center and its Rua Augusta. At its top, you can see a large statue, created by Celestin Anatole Calmels, representing glory rewarding valor and genius. Our recommendation: ascend to a lesser-known viewpoint. Many people are unaware that you can climb up the Arco, reaching its panoramic platform, which is undoubtedly one of the less-known spots in the city. Needless to say, the view from up here is spectacular. Now, enjoy a nice lunch. After having lunch at the Time Out Market, a market in Lisbon with a dedicated section for gastronomy, you can reach the Monastery of Jesus, one of Lisbon's gems. You have several options. From Cais Soda to Monastery Jesus, you can take bus line 728, 15 minutes, or tram line 15E, 20 minutes, or you can take the Cascais line train from Cais do Soda to Belém, 20 minutes. The Monastery of Jesus is one of the most important monuments in Lisbon, built in 1505 to celebrate the achievements of the Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, inside you can visit the Church of Bethlehem, where Vasco da Gama, Luis Camões, and Fernando Pessoa are buried. Even though there are often lines outside, it's definitely worth a visit for its wonderful architecture. We recommend taking advantage and buying your tickets online. It's one of the most visited attractions in the city, so there can be long queues at times. After your visit, enjoy a stroll in the Belém neighborhood, which gets its name from the Church of Bethlehem in the Monastery of Jesus. It's a beautiful neighborhood with large green areas and a lovely seafront promenade, where you can also find the monument to the discoveries, built to commemorate the golden age of national history. As you walk, you reach the famous Belém Tower, one of Lisbon's symbols. Many expeditions into the ocean, in which Portugal played a significant role, started from here. Also declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, admire it from the outside and enjoy a beautiful sunset by the sea. Activities and ideas for alternative itineraries. Lisbon is full of distinctive neighborhoods, but of course, you can't see them all in one day. As an alternative to La Baixa, you might want to explore Bairro Alto, the trendy neighborhood. To discover Alfama, instead of walking as recommended in the itinerary, you can also consider taking Tram 28, probably the most famous one in Lisbon, which completes a circuit from Matomones to Campo Aurique, offering marvelous views throughout the neighborhood. If you're traveling with your family, you definitely shouldn't miss the area of Parque del Nazione, modern Lisbon, where after the expo, the pavilions were converted into museums, auditoriums, and attractions. A visit to the Oceanarium is a must here. Plan for at least half a day for the visit, as it is located some distance from the city center. Finally, if you love sacred and liturgical art, you can't miss the numerous churches in the city. La C, the Lisbon Cathedral, the Church of Santa Ingrecia, also known as the Pantheon but never dedicated to worship, and the Monastery of São Vicente de Fora. As always, last but not least, the food in Lisbon. When you think of typical dishes from Lisbon, codfish immediately comes to mind. In fact, it is said that in Portugal there are even 365 recipes, one for each day of the year, to cook and enjoy it. Lisbon's cuisine is diverse and colorful, but certainly the typical dish that first comes to mind when thinking about the city's gastronomic tradition is codfish. There are countless recipes for preparing it and many variations on the theme, making it one of the most appreciated dishes by both locals and tourists. A typical meal usually starts with appetizers that are always brought to the table, but are only charged if consumed. It then continues with a hot soup and proceeds with a single dish of fish or meat, accompanied by vegetables and rice. Typical dishes include grilled sardines, seafood rice, arroz de marisco, and alentejo-style pork. One of the most well-known traditional soups is caldo verde, a soup made with fried onions, cabbage, and potatoes, served with spicy sausage. Among the desserts, the undisputed symbol of Lisbon is the traditional pastéis de nata, pastries with crispy pastry and filled with egg custard, which delight anyone who tastes them. Here are some delicious recipes to tempt you if you visit the charming city of Lisbon. Caldo verde. This is indeed a soup, green in color as the name suggests, as it is made from cabbage, potatoes, and chorizo, not originally part of the recipe, but sometimes added, especially in recent times. The cabbage is sliced very thinly and combined with the other ingredients. The soup, very light, is usually served as an appetizer or as a standalone dish to enjoy as a snack. Carne de porco e grava lentejana. Meat and fish on the same plate for a very special recipe, but don't be discouraged by the ingredients. Indeed, the combination of clams and pork in the same dish is rather unusual, but the result is truly delicious. The pork is marinated with coriander, wine, paprika, and pepper, and fried clams are added to it. The whole dish is then served with potatoes. Cam ao Moçambique. Although the name of this specialty means shrimp from Mozambique, the dish is typically Portuguese and can be easily found on the menus of restaurants in Lisbon. In the original recipe, spicy chilies from Africa were included, used in the preparation of piri-piri, in which the shrimp are immersed. Other ingredients include garlic, parsley, and paprika. The dish is very spicy, so be prepared. Bacalhau. Here is the great classic of Portuguese cuisine and a typical dish in Lisbon's gastronomy. Codfish. It is estimated that the average consumption of codfish in Portugal ranges from 5 to 7 kilograms. Just like pasta in Italy, there are a myriad of recipes for cooking it, with the most famous being the so-called Portuguese-style codfish. This dish adds potatoes, eggs, and black olives to the main ingredient. A different recipe for creamy codfish, in addition to potatoes, involves the use of bechamel sauce. All that's left is to visit the city and decide which version you prefer. Arroz de Marisco. Among the specialties of Lisbon's gastronomy, arroz de Marisco, a flavorful dish, is a mix between typical Italian risotto and Spanish paella. The dish, based on rice, is almost like a soup as it is brothy and includes shellfish, mollusks, and vegetables. Caldeirada de peques. Fish-based dishes abound in typical Portuguese cuisine, and this stew is no exception, made from various types of fish and shellfish, covered with herbs and tomatoes. Where to eat in Lisbon? Best restaurants, traditional places, and street food. Let's start with the assumption that the overall quality of restaurants in Lisbon is high. You're unlikely to go wrong, but we still want to offer you some advice. First, consider opting for tascas, a kind of tavern or trattoria that distinguishes itself from the more common touristy restaurants. You'll find plenty of them in Bairro Alto. Secondly, although dining in the Casa Stafado is very charming, keep in mind that it's a sought-after experience, so prices can be quite high. You could also eat in a tasca and then enjoy fado music while sipping good wine in another place. Lastly, yes, codfish is indeed everywhere, but the cuisine is diverse. Try a bit of everything and let the waiters recommend their specialties. Where to stay in Lisbon? Tips and best neighborhoods for accommodation. Lisbon is a unique and enchanting capital, characterized by a rich heritage of wonderful attractions and museums. If you want to visit Lisbon, you must carefully choose the best area to stay. First and foremost, it's essential to consider your needs and what you are looking for in every aspect. The city is quite affordable, so, except during peak seasons, summer, Christmas/New Year, Easter, and various holidays, you shouldn't have difficulty finding excellent value for money. Here is a practical guide on where to stay in Lisbon and the best neighborhoods to base yourself in the Portuguese capital, along with some useful tips for your stay in Lisbon. The best areas, neighborhoods, and accommodation facilities recommended for various types of travelers. Just one day's advice. Bullet recommended areas for savings. Alfama, the most local neighborhood. Bullet recommended areas for families with children. Central neighborhoods Baixa, Chiado, Avenida da Liberdade, residential area of Belém. Bullet recommended areas for young people. Bairro Alto, the upper part of the city and the hub of nightlife. And so, dear friends of Just One Day, our incredible journey in Lisbon comes to an end. We hope that our adventures have been helpful to you and that you have enjoyed every single moment with us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to not miss the next exciting trips and to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. We want to sincerely thank you for sharing this unforgettable experience with us. Lisbon has given us precious memories, and we hope that you too have been able to capture some of the magic of this beautiful city. Keep following us for new adventures and travel inspirations. Thanks again, and see you at the next destination. Goodbye from Just One Day.